Hey everybody, O'Grady here, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm diving into a pretty wild story that's been making headlines lately. So grab your beef jerky and a cafe con leche, because we're talking about a massive data breach that might have exposed billions of social security numbers. Yeah, you heard that right. Billions with a B. Let's break it down. Some are calling it the big breach. So here's the deal. A company called National Public Data, NPD, which most of us have probably never even heard of, got hacked. These guys are in the background check business, and they've been collecting data on, well, pretty much all of us apparently. So you might be thinking, wait a second, I've never heard of these guys and I never gave them my info. Well, surprise, they don't really need your permission. They scrape public data and records from the internet and other various sources. Sounds like fun, right? Yeah, well, here's the numbers game, because it's pretty mind-blowing. Some reports say up to 2.9 billion personal records might have been affected. 2.9 billion, that's a lot considering there's only about 330 million of us Americans. Others are saying it could be over 2.7 billion, and National Public Data itself is claiming it's more like 1.3 million records. Well, hey, that's quite a range, but here's the kicker. Even if it's only 1.3 million, that's still a lot of personal data floating around out there. So what kind of data and info are we talking about here? Well, it's kind of like the whole Taco Bell menu. Social security numbers, names, addresses, phone numbers, even physical addresses. Basically, everything an identity thief would love to get their hands on. So, not cool, National Public Data. Here's the timeline. Rewind a bit and look at how all this went down. Starting back in December of 2023, a third-party hacker might have first accessed the data. Then by April of 2024, potential information started leaking. And then throughout the summer of 2024, more leaks possibly happened. And then in August, well, that's when the story broke, and we all started freaking out. So some say there's kind of a silver lining to this. So don't panic just quite yet. Cybersecurity experts who've been digging into this mess have found that a lot of the leaked data isn't all that reliable. In fact, some of it was already publicly available anyway. One cybersecurity industry expert quipped, "The reality is, there's nothing new in this." Well, that makes me feel a lot better. So, well, now you know, there's that. So are you affected? Well, that is the million-dollar question. So how do you know if your info was part of this data dump? Well, there are a couple of websites where you can check it out. npdbreach.com is one. You can search using your full name and zip code, or your social security number, or phone number. Guess which one I'm not using for that? Or the other website is npd.pentester.com. This one lets you search with your first name, last name, and state, and your birth date. So here's the pro tip, as there always is a pro tip. Don't go entering your full social security number on these sites, but you probably knew that anyway. Just stick to searching with your name and other less sensitive info. So let's say you find out your data was part of the breach. What do you do? What now? Well, don't worry. Here's your first step. Freeze your credit. This is your first line of defense. Contact all three major credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, and put a freeze on your credit. Makes it harder for the bad guys to open new accounts in your name. And if you do need your credit checked, say a cell phone service provider, or you're trying to get an apartment at a complex and they need to run your credit, or maybe your employer, you're trying to get a job somewhere and they want to run your credit, just unfreeze it. Temporarily, of course, but doing so is pretty easy. I've been doing it for years. And change your passwords. I know, it's a pain, but seriously, just do it. And if you've been using the same password since junior high, well, now's the time to mix it up. Come on, your iPhone can do it for you with the iCloud keychain. Or ask Siri to create a password for you. Or use some kind of password management application. Enable 2FA, two-factor authentication. This adds an extra layer of security to your accounts. So do it now. Well, after the video. And be careful, extra careful on public Wi-Fi, like sitting around a coffee shop. Maybe don't check your bank account while sipping a latte at Jerry's Diner, or use a VPN, a virtual private network. There are plenty of choices that keep your data encrypted and mask your IP address. All right, now for the bigger picture. If we zoom out a little bit, I'd say this is a pretty big wake-up call for a lot of us who weren't paying attention. It shows just how much of our personal info is out there, being bought, sold, and traded without our knowledge or even consent. It's a reminder that in our digital age, privacy is becoming more of a luxury than a right. And it does raise some big questions about how our data is being collected, stored, and protected. All right, there you have it. The lowdown on this massive Social Security data breach. Social Security number stolen. Yeah, bit scary, sure, but knowledge is power, and now you know. So stay informed, take those precautions, and you can help protect yourself in this Wild West digital world we're living in. So remember, stay safe out there. Keep an eye on your credit reports, and maybe think twice before oversharing on social media. Oh, and if you found this video helpful, I wouldn't mind a share, a like, and a sub. In the meantime, I'll see you in the next video.